Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the co-founder of Rent Hero. This is going to be a brief presentation about how utilities work. And so the ground rule for utilities is that the landlord can't earn money on it. So it has to be based in the actual cost of buying that utility or your actual consumption of that utility. So the most typical thing you're being charged for is heating and water. So once a year, the actual consumption will be measured, and this might be on the, say, the 1st of January, and then you'll find out, whether or not you've consumed more water and heating than you paid for, or if you paid for more than your actual consumption has been. If you overpaid, then you get money back. If you're underpaid, then your landlord has the right to have you pay that amount back. So that's basically how it works. There are certain criteria you need to be provided with a utility overview once a year, and then you should have a 6-week notice to make any objections you might have. Let's say that throughout the year, throughout the winter, your radiators has been broken, and that you paid a large amount for heating. That would be a reason to make a dispute regarding that your cost for heating should obviously reflect that you didn't have any heating, as heating is typically calculated for the entire building. So there are some formalities for these utility overviews, if you're anything you're worried about, then you can always get in touch with us. So there are certain criteria for what utilities a landlord can actually charge you for. So heating is always possible to charge the tenant for, but in regards to water, that has to be, then you can't charge the tenant to pay for water if you don't measure the actual consumption of water. So you need to have installed these round water meters. They're typically installed under the sink and around the apartment to measure what your actual usage is. And if those aren't installed, then you're actually not liable to pay for water and should get that amount, the amount you paid back. So this is the most common fault we see in contracts, are landlords trying to have the tenant pay for water. So the same goes for electricity, where oftentimes landlords have the tenant register at their electricity company of their choosing, but other landlords tend to just have their tenant pay a certain amount each month, where then the same system applies in terms of what's been the actual usage, and then you either get money back or you owe some money to your landlord. What utilities can you actually be charged for? So heating, you can always be charged for. Water, it will depend on if there are separate water meters. But landlords tend to get very creative when doing these surcharges to the rent, and that might be a way for them to try and circumvent rent controls that your actual rent for the apartment is quite low or close to what the legal level is, and then they'll put on these extra charges to make up the difference of what people are willing to pay. And the most common is furniture rental. So it might be that your rent is like $5,000 a month, but you need to rent furniture for $3,000 a month. And furniture, as a rule, should be included in the rent. So in those cases, you can actually get a back payment of the amount already paid going back 36 months, and then get that cost reduced going forward, as it should be included in the rent. There also, we see a lot of different stuff of landlords trying to add different charges, but either way, if you believe you're being charged a high amount for a utility which you don't quite understand, then get in touch with us and we'll be happy to give you advice to your case and inform you whether or not the landlord is actually allowed to charge you for that utility. But that's kind of a brief overview. If you have any follow-up questions, hit us up on the chat, give us a call or write us an email. That's it for me. Bye.